We are less than 2 weeks away from the kickoff of the 2025 holiday shopping season, which commences with Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all of those fun events that we get to watch on the news of people bum rushing Walmart and various shops and getting into hilarious fights. And if you're anything like me, you usually stay as far away from that type of nonsense as possible. However, we still need to purchase gifts for our friends and family members. I end up doing about 99.9% of that online these days, as do probably most of the listeners of this podcast. So like I said in the previous podcast episode, I will be doing another quick and dirty on a subject for the day. And then we will be doing one more chat episode for wrapping up the year of 2025 and the inaugural year of this podcast, the OPSEC Podcast. I will talk to you more about what is to come in 2026. We got some pretty good ideas and some good plans on how to expand and change things up a little bit and bring you guys hopefully some really fun and informative subjects to implement into your lifestyles. But for today, we are going to talk about something that I think that people can benefit from during the holiday season when it comes to purchasing gifts for friends and family members, and that is Faraday protection items. And what I mean by that is really a broad range of consumer items that help protect your phone from being tracked, or Bluetooth from being hijacked, or even perhaps your credit card information from being stolen. We'll get a little bit more into that in this episode. So welcome back to the OPSEC Podcast. I am your host, Alan Pace, and today we will be discussing Faraday sleeves and RFID protection devices. Now, most people will understand what a Faraday sleeve it does, but they don't necessarily know what the name comes from. The name Faraday is reference to physicist Michael Faraday from the early to mid 1800s, who did a lot of work around electromagnetic fields and RF signals. And he created a Faraday cage which allows the protection of anything in it from RF signals or electromagnetic fields, as well as many other things. I'm not a historian on his work, so I won't go into anything else other than that, but that's just the basic idea of where the name came from. Now, most everybody understands the need for, or the function behind, Faraday sleeves in this day and age with cell phones and wireless touch payment options with our credit cards or key fob signals. So the holiday seasons is a good option to start thinking about some of these products. The way I like to do everything, as everybody who listens to this podcast knows, is in a multi-layered strategy. I call it the onion strategy. So, for example, I don't necessarily keep my cell phone in a Faraday sleeve all the time when I'm carrying it around. However, when I'm traveling, I keep it inside of a Faraday sleeve. And then I also keep it inside of a case that is also a Faraday protection device as well. I do the same thing with my passports. I do the same thing with my credit cards. So the ability to protect yourself as much as possible usually takes more than one strategy or one technique or one product. So I try to employ all of them that are reasonable. So we'll start with what I always say is the most important thing, and that's our money. I have a RFID protective wallet, and I keep my credit cards and my IDs inside of RFID protective sleeves inside of that wallet. So it is theoretically double protected. Now, I also have a RFID protective passport cover. I employ the same thought process with that. I keep it in the passport cover. when I travel, and I keep that passport inside of a hand carry bag that also has Faraday protection material built into it. That way, the thought is if one is weak or fails, then the other one helps protect the RFID chip inside of there from being hijacked. When I'm traveling, I also employ the same techniques with my phone and other electronic devices as well. I have a Faraday sleeve for my phone that goes inside of a hand carry bag that also is Faraday protected. So keep in mind for yourself or your family members and friends who are privacy conscious that these Faraday products could be an easy win for holiday gift ideas. Now let's talk about the practicality of some of these products. Mostly Silent Pocket is one of the major companies that makes Faraday sleeves for phones and laptops and tablets and whatnot. And I have a few of their products and I think they're excellent. However, even myself as a privacy nerd and a tinfoil hat wearing person, I just cannot adopt the Faraday sleeve as a daily piece of equipment for my cell phone. And my expectation is that people who are less extreme than I am would probably also have the same problem. Now, when it comes to items that I don't carry around every day, for example, my laptop, I have a Silent Pocket laptop sleeve because everybody needs a travel case for their laptop. And so you might as well buy one that is high quality as well as Faraday protective. And so I went with one of their laptop sleeves and I've had it for a number of years and it is excellent. The same thing can be used when it comes to carrying any other larger devices that are not daily carry-out items such as tablets. I employ a slightly different strategy when it comes to travel. I have multiple hand carry cases that I either carry with me or put inside my backpack or my suitcase. And I usually have, like I had mentioned previously, multiple RFID or Faraday protective layers inside of that. Two products that I take with me when I travel all the time are simple hand-carried little kits that I like to store electronics inside of. One of them is called the Mission Darkness Mojave Faraday bag, and the other one is the Silent Pocket Essentials Faraday Tech Organizer. Now, both of these are very similar products. I find the Silent Pocket to be slightly higher quality, but they essentially look like a little hand-carried zip-up organizer for like a day planner. And they both have built-in Faraday sleeves, as well as different card holders and pockets and stuff like that. And you get them in two different sizes. I usually carry my phone in one of them, and I store that in my carry-on item. And I usually carry the other one in a manner of having all of my travel required documentation in there, including any cards or membership cards for travel accounts or passport or whatever it might be. And I like to double those up with the credit card sleeves as well as any type of sleeve for the wallet or the passport that it is protecting. Now, when it comes to the phone sleeves, I have had experience with both Silent Pocket as well as Mission Darkness phone sleeves, and they are both pretty outstanding. Now, the Silent Pocket is slightly smaller and more compact, and the Mission Darkness one is a little bit more ruggedized feeling. It's got a more of a rubbery feel to it, and it double folds over with some really powerful magnets that seal it closed. So I recommend those. I also recommend the Silent Pockets, but they are a little bit more expensive. When it comes to full Faraday capable backpacks or hand carry cases, full-size cases, you're going to be spending a little bit more money. And so it all really boils down to what your budget is. If you can afford those things, great, go for it. There's several options out there, but most of us can't. They're $700-800 for a backpack or a hand carry duffel bag, which to me is pretty high. So one thing I like to do is I like to buy some more affordable inserts from places like Mission Darkness, and I like to integrate them into my pack or my suitcase that I already have. Now, there is a company named Go Dark that I have seen a lot online, but I have not used any of their products. They look like they are very similar to the Mission Darkness products, with a little bit of a different design thought process behind it. The Mission Darkness, on the sleeves, you have to fold it over twice, and like I mentioned, it has the really strong magnets, where Silent Pocket has a patented seal system where it has 2 layers of, I believe it's magnetized material that essentially grips like teeth, and it allows it to seal that way, which is really nice, and it's way more compact and flat than the other ones where you have to double fold it. The Go Dark Faraday sleeves seem to be similar to the Mission Darkness ones in the way of the double fold, but they have either a clasp or a buckle or elastic strap that goes and attaches to the body of the sleeve in order to hold it closed. To me, those seem a little bit chintzy, but the buckle ones look like they're all right. I haven't used them though, but they seem like nice products, and all of the reviews I've read about them are pretty decent. You can tell that the look of the 3 companies has a slightly different target audience. The Go Dark series of Faraday products is a gray nylon, and it looks relatively low vis, and it looks like it's trying to blend in. Whereas the Mission Darkness products are typically a little bit more tactical looking, with rubberized and features that are waterproof, dry bag looking materials, and they are actually very nice, and most of them are waterproof as well. And the Silent Pocket products are trying to maintain a corner on the market for the high-end products, and so far there's nobody really challenging that side of them, but they do come at a premium price as well. So if you're looking for something a little bit more affordable, the Mission Darkness or the Go Dark series products might be a little bit more in your price range. One method I like to use in order to gain Faraday capabilities in my current luggage that I already own, or on a backpack that I already have that doesn't have it built in, is to buy either a Faraday add-on pack, like a Molly utility pack, or a dry bag. And then you can kit that out with whatever you need to and add it to your backpack or your suitcase that way. And you can also take it and use it in other methods. For example, I have several sleeves that I use that are large phone sleeves. And I don't use them for phones, but what I use them for is I store my backup hard drives inside of them. And then I will place the backup hard drive inside that sleeve, inside another Faraday protective bag or container, and I will place that inside my safe for safekeeping. Now that gives it, obviously it's a safe, so it gives it fire protection. Also, some safes are just so thick and dense that it blocks signals from them anyways. And so in the event of like a solar flare or something along those lines, which damages electronics, the safe provides just an added layer of dense protection. So my backup hard drives actually have 2 Faraday protective containers over them, as well as whatever the safe would actually provide, which, to be clear, the safe doesn't provide a advertised protection against EMP, but what it does do is it provides that fire safety and the dense material around it, which theoretically would be able to protect it from any other radio frequencies or surges getting through that material, because it is in fact fire safe and waterproof. One item I think is extremely underrepresented when it comes to Faraday protection or RFID protection is the little sleeves that you can buy for your credit cards. I use these extensively, and sometimes for reasons that are just nonsense or that don't really need any RFID protection. But every single card I use, I have an RFID protective sleeve over it, and it goes inside of my wallet, which my wallet is also an RFID protective wallet. So it has a sleeve built into it as well as the paper sleeves that protect the card. One thing I've found over time is that those protective sleeves wear out and you have to replace them every 6 months or a year or whatever. And what that actually does is it ends up protecting your card from wear and tear, because the RFID protective sleeve is the one that takes all of the damage over time. So it makes your card last longer, prevents it from getting scratched up and worn out, which I like. I also use those sleeves in my little travel kit that I put together for having spare money, emergency money, essentially. So I'll take an RFID sleeve and I will fold up, for example, a $100 bill in a really flat and perfect way, and I will slide that in to that sleeve, and then I will place that sleeve in the back compartment of my wallet. Or another thing I like to do is I like to place one of those underneath my phone case. So if you pop the case off of my phone, you would find a Faraday sleeve that has an emergency $50 in it, for example, or 100 euros or whatever. Depending on wherever I'm traveling, I change that out. But that's a little tip and a trick. It lays very, very flat, and also it just allows you to have a little container so that you don't have money in there free floating. So it provides a little bit of a hiding space. Since we are coming up on the holidays, and the holiday season is also a travel season, I feel like this is a very important thing for people to consider implementing some of these techniques before they hit the road, before they travel. I think most of us have probably seen the clips on social media where tourists are traveling and they're walking down a touristy area and they get approached by a female who asks the guy a question, and then behind him, another girl walks up with a credit card, wireless credit card machine, and sticks it right next to his pocket and allegedly is making a contactless payment. Now, I've read some different opinions about that as possibly bullshit and it doesn't work. However, I'm not really one to want to risk that. Now, if you want to risk that, that's on you, but that's not how I operate. So I just want to remove all of the vulnerabilities I possibly can control. And one way to do that is like I said before, doubling up your Faraday sleeve in a Faraday protective wallet. Also, you can get what I like to call fanny packs, but that's not the cool phrase anymore. They call them like crossbody packs or sling packs, but really all they are is fanny packs that they're wearing around their torso instead of around their waist. Those are very valuable when traveling and when in various countries. For example, many European countries, you will see men wearing what looks like a purse or a fanny pack, depending on the shape of it, across their body, and that's all it really is. It's a sling pack. The Silent Pocket makes some really good ones. Mission Darkness makes a pretty nice one, and the Go Dark Faraday crossbody bag also looks really nice. The reason I like the Go Dark series is because it looks like it's a regular fanny pack. It doesn't look like it's tactical. It doesn't look like it's a Faraday protective specialty item. It looks just like a regular gray fanny pack. So take that into consideration when you're looking at the 3 different products, or even if you go out on your own and you find other companies that make this type of stuff. keep in mind the look. If you want to look like a tactical dude or girl, then that's cool. That's on you. A lot of stuff I own has that look about it, and it's kind of hard for me to avoid because I just like that stuff. But when I travel in certain places, I try to not take some of that stuff with me because I don't want to stand out any more than I already do. And so I want to try to be less visible. Now, that's Go Dark Faraday crossbody bag is a good option for that. And it's relatively cheap, about $100, whereas some of the other ones are a little bit more expensive. Another option that I'm looking at probably getting one for myself this season is called the Mission Darkness Haven Phone Shield case. And what makes that one stand out to me is the case is like a rigid soft case. It's very nice looking, and it is built around a Faraday phone sleeve that connects into it, and it's got other pockets and pen slots, and it looks like you can probably fit like a small notebook in there, as well as like a keyring holder. So it looks like it's a really nice option for travel packs. So I might add that one to my arsenal as well, but I recommend going and checking that out. So I'm going to wrap this quick and dirty episode up. I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning of the rant that I just went on, but we are not affiliated with Silent Pocket. We are not affiliated with Mission Darkness, and we are not affiliated with Go Dark companies or any other companies at all. These are simply the three that I'm familiar with. Two of them I have hands-on experience with because I own several of their items. We are always open and willing to give honest reviews on products. So Silent Pocket, Mission Darkness, and Go Dark, if you're listening, feel free to send me some of your stuff, and I would be happy to put it through a torture test and see how it works. But for my listeners, go check out those three companies. You guys will like them. Start thinking about buying functional gifts for your friends and family members, because why buy them garbage when you can buy them something good? It has an actual purpose behind it. And to me, buying them something nice that also helps protect them a certain way is an even more meaningful gift. So think about that this year when you're buying stuff for your family or your friends or whomever you buy gifts for, or yourself. This is also an opportunity to upgrade what you have or buy yourself something that you've been wanting for a while that you need but don't already have. Right? You want a crossbody bag, you're going to do some traveling in 2026, go look at one of these products. You want to get a new wallet? Cool. Go buy one that's got a Faraday capability or an RFID protection built into it, and then buy a kit from off Amazon or Silent Pocket's website or whoever that has the credit card sleeves that you can double it up. Start thinking about this stuff and don't make yourself the low-hanging fruit when you're traveling this year. So that was just over 20 minutes of me ranting about Faraday sleeves and products related to RFID protection. I hope that was informative. Like I said, this is a quick and dirty one, so we are going to wrap it up for the day, and I will talk to you all in a couple of weeks, and we will go over what we have in store for 2026 in the next episode. So until then, remember that your privacy and your security is your responsibility. This is Alan Pace, signing off.